Welcome to BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Capital Farm Credit Wednesday night podcast, our weekly look at the area athletic scene, what happened last week, and what's going on this week. I'm here with my partner via Zoom, Dan Youngblood. And tonight, Dan, we've got a special guest. We've got Stephenville baseball coach Justin Swenson joining us. And this is a program out there that, I mean, they graduated a lot of talent from last year's team that went to the state semis, and yet here they are again, playing really well, and they're ranked.
Yeah, I mean, this is a program really on the rise. Coach Swenson's been there, I think, 7 years now. Took them to their first state tournament appearance last year. It's had some good years before that, and finally broke through last year with a trip to state. This year, and they entered the week ranked in the top 15. They've dropped a couple of games in district where they had kind of a little bit of a lull there, but they're starting to play, kind of get out of that and play better. And I think that honestly could be a good thing for them going down the stretch, just to kind of have that wake up call there before the playoffs, where you get to build that momentum back up. But this is a team with talent. It's a little younger than last year's team, which, like you said, graduated 10 seniors. But there's a lot of talent in this group, starting obviously with a true ace on the mound in Reese Elston, a really good lefty starter. And then some guys around him who have had some experience as well that were on that team last year that did go to state. So it'll be fun talking to Coach Swenson this week about this team and maybe about some of the differences between this group and last year, just in the fact that you are a little bit less experienced but still having the type of success. I think that's a good sign for this Stephenville program, which is building some staying power.
I went to Austin to cover that game between Texarkana, Pleasant Grove, and Stephenville for the in the state semis, and one could not help but feel badly for Stephenville, in that they came out playing really well and hit the ball really well. I mean, right on the button, and time and time again, it's just going right to people. And after a while, the game got away from them. And I've always wondered, that if some of those well hit balls had found the mark, how that may have changed the game. Because you know what that does, especially to your pitcher's confidence when they got some run support, it can change the game. And they just ran into some really bad luck in that game. They ended up getting blown out, but that could have been a different ball game. And it was just a sad way to see a great season end.
Yeah, that's the thing about the UIL state tournament. Obviously, it's a one-game deal. That's the thing. Baseball, I think, in a lot of cases, is built for series. Even what's interesting in the high school playoffs, a lot of times you see those best 2 or 3 series all the way until you get to state, and then you get one game. And baseball is a sport where, like you said, if the bounces aren't going your way, things can get away from you. And it's really not a representative performance or showing of the type of team you have. And I think that's what happened to Stephenville last year, is that, a couple of breaks go against them early, and then it does just kind of get away from them. And by the end, it doesn't look like that same Stephenville team. But at the same time, I think that, that's a good experience regardless to make that type of run, to have that type of experience at the state tournament. And now those kids that were there last year will come back this year with probably a fire and some motivation to avoid that this year, but also to get back and to show kind of the type of team they have, the type of program they have.
All right. Before we jump into this week's show, we need to thank our sponsor, Capital Farm Credit, with offices all over Texas, including Stanford and Abilene. Buy your own slice of Texas with Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. All right. And with that, before we bring on Coach Swenson, let's go ahead and stay on the subject of Stephenville. Coy Aiken is our Capital Farm Credit BCP Player of the Week, and deservedly so. He went to the district track meet last week and did something that I consider remarkable. He was asked by the coaching staff to take up the triple jump and to take up the long jump in order to score a few extra points and help the Yellow Jackets win a district championship as a team. Well, he did that. He not only helped them win, but he won 2 district championships individually. He won both events, triple jump and long jump, with a week of practice, which at the class 4A level, I mean, you're going up against a lot more depth and a lot more athleticism. And for him to do that is just remarkable. And it just shows, dude is just freaky good. He's freaky, athletic, and just a great athlete.
And that's one thing that, anyone who watched him play football for the longest time, but before, the D1 offer started rolling in as a result of that state championship game, anyone who watched him play could tell the type of athlete he was. That's part that was so shocking to me when his recruiting didn't take off. It's like anyone that watches this guy play, you throw a 50-50 ball, a jump ball. I mean, he's winning it almost every time. Like against really good 4 and 5A, DBs. You can't do that without being a great athlete. And I think this just highlights, brings that really to the forefront when you're talking about a kid who's able to go to a district, strong district track meet in an event that he's not a specialist in, something that he's done, a little bit of practice in, just where you're leaning really on raw athleticism. And then he goes out there and shows up, particularly the triple jump, like the long jump. You obviously have to hit your mark and you've got to, avoid, scratching, but the long jump you run and you jump. Triple jump takes some technique to it. And it's the fact that he was able to, get to a point in 1 week where he's capable of winning a district track meet. Pretty dang impressive. And I think it also speaks to his character, knowing that those points are important for a team championship. And that's the thing that's kind of neat about high school track is there is that team competition, there is that team camaraderie, and that's something that when these teams go to these district meets, these regional meets, the state meet, they want to be able to compete as a team. And I thought that was pretty cool too, that aspect of it.
He anchored all 3 of their relays as well, and they won gold. They won the district championship in the 1600 relay with him running a 50.5 anchor leg. That's booking, that's moving. And he also helped them win silver in the 400 relay and the 800 relay. And for the record, with a week's worth of practice, a 43-foot triple jump, which puts him in the big country elite area, that 43, that's going to put you up there. And a long jump of 2010. With a week of practice. That's unbelievable. You're talking about, wow, that's about all.
Both those are putting you among the big country leaders there. If you look at track best, I mean, both those numbers are putting you in that range for a kid who, like I said, does not specialize in that. But when you look at Coy, I think is kind of one of the best examples, but Reese Elston, who we talked a little bit about in the baseball team's another. This is just a remarkable run, kind of wave of talent that Stephenville has going through there right now. But those guys kind of leading the way. When you look at what they did, Reese in baseball last year, those 2 guys helping the football program to the state championship. And obviously the boys soccer team made their first state tournament appearance as well this year. And that's a different group of kids, but it just kind of goes to speak to the level of talent that they've got rolling through there and kind of the expectations they've got. But it's got to be a fun time to be a Stephenville Yellow Jackets fan when you look at all the success they're having across the really all those sports.
Well, I'll tell you, and it's not like they just they won an all-around program. They want that. Coach Doty wants an all-around very good athletic program. That's what he wants. And I've always believed that there could be a carryover from football to everything else, because if you have a successful football program, you get those kids used to being in the gym all the time. Always working, always trying to get better, always trying to get bigger and stronger. And there's a carryover to everything else you do athletically if you're in that weight room. And they've got a great facility at Stephenville. Those kids are always in there working out, working hard. And that's why they're so successful at football. And it just doesn't surprise me to see a carryover.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of, if you look at the elite programs across the state, particularly at the 4A level on down, where you're using a lot of the same athletes for, from season to season to season. I think that's kind of the mark of those really elite successful programs is they're good at virtually everything. I think Stephenville's kind of building that type of program to where you expect them to be in the mix in just about every sport. And it's been a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, Stephenville's always been good at football, and they've always had, years where they're good at other sports as well, but they're starting to build some programs with, like I said earlier, some staying power. And it's pretty neat to see. And obviously these kids that we're talking about now in this current wave of talent will graduate and move on. But they're starting to build some expectations among the younger group. And Stephenville's always got talent. So it's going to be fun to watch in the coming years just to see how much of this does have carryover and kind of if we can see some of these programs kind of, build those expectations to where Stephenville becomes one of those, premier programs in Class 4, because I think they absolutely have that ability to. And it'll be neat to see if they can kind of achieve that over a decade-long period.
All right, with that, it's just about time to bring on Coach Swenson. But before we do that, we want to thank our sponsors. First and foremost, Capital Farm Credit, who brings you these Wednesday night podcasts throughout the school year. Also for the Love of the Game broadcasting, and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Legs 93.5 FM out of Breck, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country 1330 out of Graham. That's an AM station. 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That's for the Love of the Game broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a vehicle, new or used, call him at 254-559-2266. That's Rob Durham at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. And finally, Phil Hill of the Abilene Realtors Group, big supporter of local athletics. If you're in the market, give him a shout at 325-669-5153 or visit his website at philhillproperties.com. And joining us now, Stephenville baseball coach Justin Swenson. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Mr. Rand, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Coach, you lost a lot of players from last year. A lot of seniors graduated. You lost some key personnel, and yet here you are, ranked again up there in the top 15. Things are going well again. What are the keys so far for not missing a beat?
Yeah, one thing we've done around here is we take pride in developing our JV teams. So I've been here. This is my 7th season, and in the 7 years that our staff has been together, we've won 6 district championships at the JV level. And so we take pride in developing those guys and getting them ready to play, because we every coach has a saying, and it's you want to reload every year. So we don't know rebuilding, reload. And so that's the way that we look at it. We start from the bottom and develop and tell those guys when it's your turn, we don't want to miss a beat.
And for those who did return, how much of that experience last year making that run to state, how much did that just help those guys and kind of help set the expectations for this year?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just a boost in the arm to the community, the baseball program as a whole. We've got people talking baseball more than they ever have in this town, and we're getting a lot of people are giving us a lot of pat on the back for the starting kind of the trend. With football winning the state championship later on, we just had a soccer team participate in the Final Four, so. You can kind of feel the confidence of all the student athletes that are in the school, and we're getting a lot of credit for kind of getting it rolling.
Coach, last year in the state semifinals, it was just a frustrating day. I mean, I was there, and, from my recollection, for the first few innings, you guys were just hitting some aspirin tablets right at people. I mean, you were hitting ropes at people. Had opportunities to score, but just some bad luck. And then the thing got away from you. It had to be a frustrating day. And how much, for your returnees from that, how much motivation did they get from that? Because I don't think the score really was indicative of how much closer to them you were.
Absolutely. No, we left we were the visiting team, came out and laced 3, one ball in a gap that Trace Morrison hit. They ran down, and then I still remember lining out to shortstop, lining out to second base. I mean, all hard hit balls. So I looked at my assistants. I said, "Better hold on, boys. We're about to score some runs today." And it just continued. We continued to hit the ball hard, but things started falling apart defensively for us. And when you win 19 in a row, that game is out there at some point. That one that you hate to do it on that stage, but in high school baseball, it's very rare to see a streak like that without one of those bad games popping up, and it reared its ugly head at the wrong time. But Pleasant Grove is a great baseball team, and to this day, they're great champions. They're well coached, but I swear, we play those guys 10 times. We're probably going to split 5 and 5. I mean, we're good enough to play with them. They're an excellent baseball club. I wish we would have got a chance to perform in front of the entire state like we had been doing the last 2 months. But that's just part of the game. So, but the underclassmen getting a little taste of that, it really was. It's we're very hungry to get back and prove that we're a better ball club than that. And we all got a little taste. I have a lot of freshmen and sophomores that traveled with us that are playing for us this year. So, they got to experience all those things that we went through, the traveling, just the fan base. So I feel like when it happens again, we'll be a lot more ready to handle that stage.
Well, Reese Elston is back. How important has that been for your club this year?
Reese has been awesome. He's starting to figure things out on the mound. He's added probably 7-8 miles an hour on his velocity from when he finished the season last year.
Really?
And yes, we had him the other night about 87, 88 on the gun. And last year when we finished the season, he was 79 to 81, somewhere in there. So he was already a great pitcher. So now he's had some time to get his arm in shape. He came into the season last year injured with a broken foot, so we didn't get him through the first 3 tournaments. So he was really not even hitting stride when we went to Austin of where he could have been. So he's had time to play some summer ball. And then as soon as the state football championship was over, he's been working his tail off, and he's just a complete player. He's got it physically and mentally. He's just the ultimate competitor that you love, giving him the ball with the game on the line.
And you kind of mentioned developing the sub-varsity kids to be ready for this moment. Have there been any surprises from the newcomers who have stepped into bigger roles this year that you can think of?
Yeah, so really our shortstop this year is started on JV as a shortstop for us last year, and he grew a couple inches over the off season, put on some weight, some good weight from the weight room, and now hitting in the middle of the lineup. So, that's what I tell those guys: when you're a great baseball program, good players play JV. When you're a bad program, you've got to play kids early when they're not ready to. And so last year, with us being in the position we were, very senior heavy, great baseball squad, we got to develop him more and more on the sophomore. He got to dominate JV like some of those sophomores should be doing, rather than getting thrown into the fire too early and struggling. And it's a game that once you just struggle in baseball, it's hard to gain that confidence back. So I feel like him. We've got two of our 3 outfielders are underclassmen. They played on the JV last year. Our third baseman was a JV catcher last year. So all those guys got to see quality at bats last year and have success. And I think that has set them up, for the success that they're seeing right now, is that they got to dominate their level as freshmen and sophomores.
And after a really impressive run there, right there toward the end of non-district into district, y'all dropped a couple of close ones in district play. Is that something you think going into the playoffs can help a little bit, just having kind of refocusing the team and kind of redirecting the team a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing this 12 years, 7 years here as a head coach, and I told the guys every year there's been that time where we've hit rock bottom and just playing bad baseball. And one of those times 3-4 years ago, we did that as a top-ranked team entering the playoffs. And so you want to, it's coming, like I was talking about. Those days are coming. It's challenge those guys mentally and physically to work their way out of it. And it's just playing bad ball. The kids, they show up to work every day. They're putting the hours in. They're putting the sweat. There's nothing that those guys are doing wrong, other than we're just playing bad baseball the last couple of weeks, and we're kind of starting to work our way out of it. Got a big win on Thursday night, 8-0 over a good Lampasas team, and the bats are still mild. They went from cold to mild, and we're hoping to get them hot as we start crawling into the playoffs.
Coach, when somebody hears about Stephenville athletics, generally the first thing that comes to mind is football, of course, with the tradition and all. But with the success that your baseball programs had in recent years, how much of an increase in passion for baseball are you seeing out there?
Oh, it's all. I've got a 10-year-old that plays with our local travel team here, and I just got back from a tournament this weekend in Gatesville, and we've got just 5. I think there were 5 teams competing at the select level. I know there's some other squads that are competing in different places, I mean, there's baseball all around this town now. They're falling in love with it, and football is king in Texas. Football is king in Stephenville. We're not here to argue that, but there's no reason that you can't dominate in multiple sports. And we got the athletes in this city that they can play half the year and give everything they got in that half a year and be dominant. And so our expectations don't change. We're just we wanted to kind of bring a different flavor to baseball around this town. And it's nothing that I've done personally. The community has bought into it. We've got some guys help develop these city teams, the city baseball teams, and it's just become a big. I think every year we've averaged around 70 players in the program, 70 to 75 since I've been here. So the numbers are good, and that's key one. Get the kids out to play, and that gives you a better chance to pick up a good squad.
You were just talking about getting the ball rolling last year, going to state, and then maybe some of that momentum carried over into football a little bit. Is the reverse true? Because can you see some carryover from football success and maybe helping out your guys?
Yeah, I've got 3 state champions on my roster right now, and guys that have been in that situation. The game is a lot slower to them. My first baseman, Corbin Poston, he was a linebacker and kicker in the football squad. And, obviously Reese Elston, we all know what he's capable of, but, those guys, you can kind of see the game has slowed down to them. It's almost like they walk out on the field and they expect to win, and we don't teach, to be cocky by any means, but a good swagger is something an all good baseball players have. And, some of those other guys see that and follow it. And, swagger has to be earned. And those guys have definitely earned it. And, with that has come leadership that they didn't have last year. They've been in some tough situations and some great situations. And, it just, you can see the leadership. Corbin Poston is kind of our vocal leader on the team, and he takes charge when he needs to. And he wouldn't have done that last year. So it's just something that the confidence that football that he gained from football has instilled in him over the past year.
And the boys' talent and girls' talent, for that matter as well, is always strong in Stephenville. But every once in a while, seems like almost once a decade, you have one of these classes roll through, or one of this group of classes roll through that has the chance to do some of the things that y'all are doing right now across multiple sports. As a coach at Stephenville, when you do have one of these, kind of waves of talent come through, does that add some pressure on you to kind of make sure you maximize that potential a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And just like the kids should do, we as a coaching staff, we feed off of pressure. That's what helps us wake up every day and makes us hungry to come to work. If there wasn't pressure involved, I would say this would be a boring profession. So we welcome the pressure. We want it. If the expectations aren't high, then people aren't going to come watch. They come out, they want to see a good product, and it's my job to get that product on the field. And, with that comes pressure from the community, and, we welcome it. We look it straight in the eye and we attack it. And, that's what makes this profession fun.
Okay. And last one, but obviously Stephenville last several years made a really strong commitment to the facilities, updating and upgrading the facilities out there. You look what they've done with y'all's softball facility, with y'all's baseball facility, with the turf this year. Just what does that do for the programs that do get to benefit from those things? How much does that add just to what y'all are doing?
Oh gosh, my favorite story I tell everybody is at the end of the season last year, we lost 13 practices to where we could not get on the field and practice due to, field conditions. And, this year we've lost one day, which was just lightning, so, right now we're in the midst of trying to pass a multi-million-dollar facility, indoor facility that would benefit, for days like that, in all programs. But, it's when the community and the school invest that kind of money into your program, you want to do things the right way, and you want to help out in the community. We've got this week I've got just tonight I sent my varsity kids over. They're helping in the what we call in Stephenville the Angel League baseball program. So we got disabled kids that can, some of them can't walk, some of them can't swing, but we're trying to give back to the community our time that we can, just based off of what the community has given us and what they've put into the money that they put into our program. So, they scratch our back, we scratch theirs. It's a great thing. And like I said, it only benefits the kids and all the programs of Stephenville.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time, and we will be keeping a close eye on you, of course, the rest of the way. Best of luck to you.
You bet, guys. I appreciate your time and having me on. It's an honor.
And that was Stephenville baseball coach Justin Swenson. And I'll tell you what, one of the things, Dan, that makes you believe that he's done a fabulous job with that Stephenville baseball program is, Stephenville, everybody can, associate Stephenville with football, but he's got them talking baseball there. That's not easy to do.
No, and he's done it with the program he's built, with the success they've had, where he's gotten kids excited about baseball, and I think it's interesting. And obviously any coach at Stephenville of any other sport, other than football, they have to understand that it is, it's a football school. This is a football state, and that's a football town. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you can't be successful in everything. And that's something I think that a lot of those coaches out there have embraced. And obviously he's living it there in that baseball program. They're having a lot of success in recent years. And honestly, it looks like that they're building a really sustainable program, one that can be good year in and year out. And that's the key. I think that's how in high school sports, that's always the challenge, because so much of it's dependent upon the talent you've got rolling in and out. But when you can build,
they've got a lot of talent going through.
Yeah, this is a remarkable wave of talent. But at the same time, if you can build kind of those expectations and get these kids, kind of trained early to where they're coming in, into the freshman ranks, the JV ranks, where they're, know those expectations that are set for them and are striving to meet those. And then if you do have the requisite talent, all of a sudden you build a program where you hit that varsity level just expecting to win. I think that's the real key to any successful program. If you look statewide, that's the key is at the sub-varsity level, these kids are all striving to get to that varsity level so that they can do what they're, the kids that graduated before them did, so that they can basically continue that on. But Stephenville baseball is starting to build that. That's something that the football programs had, obviously, and Stephenville baseball is starting to build. It's pretty neat to see, particularly as a baseball fan.
All right. And with that, it's just about time to wrap up the Capital Farm Credit Wednesday night podcast. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we've got 3 separate subscription packages here at bigcountrypreps.com. We've got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a semi-annual 6-month subscription where we knock that price down to $4 a month. And then we've got an annual 12-month subscription where we knock that price down to $3 a month, $36 for a full year of Big Country High School athletic coverage.
We'd also like to remind you that if you see a photo you like in any one of our galleries, those are available for purchase. You can purchase a digital download for just $7. We also have some keepsakes and prints available as well, so make sure you check those out. As you scroll through the site, you'll notice pretty quickly we take a lot of photos from these games we're at. It's something that we enjoy doing and something we are very proud of here at bigcountrypreps.com.
All Big Country, all high school, all the time. Welcome home.